It is 6:49. This is your morning in 8 minutes. A man is dead this morning after a motorcycle crash in Lenoir City. Highway Patrol says Mark Thompson died on Wednesday after hitting a deer on Lakeview Road. According to a report, the 65-year-old was wearing a helmet. And a man is recovering this morning after a paragliding accident in Morristown. This happened at around 10 o'clock yesterday. The fire department says the pilot was wearing his seatbelt when he crashed near Alpha Valley Home Road. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And continuing coverage this morning, we're learning more about a healthcare facility in Oak Ridge raided by the FBI.
We told you about this story yesterday. Our team went to the Anderson County Courthouse, finding documents from a lawsuit against the owners of Patriot Home Care. The 2020 suit was filed by former employees claiming months of billing fraud. The owner saying federal agents were at the office as part of an ongoing investigation that is coming to an end. All employees were asked to return to work. A Knoxville man is going to prison after killing a pregnant woman and her 2-year-old son. This happened in Jefferson City in June of 2019. William David Phillips was found guilty on all 6 charges. Prosecutors say Phillips was driving when he says he heard a voice tell him to run over the mother and her child because he thought there was meth in the child's stroller. Phillips is sentenced to nearly 16 years in prison. And Crime Stoppers needs your help finding these suspects. They're accused of stealing $200 worth of clothing from the Old Navy on Washington Pike. Investigators say this happened Tuesday afternoon. If you recognize them, give Crime Stoppers a call. We have that number for you in the WVLT News app. And this morning, a South Knoxville youth pastor is facing sexual abuse charges.
Trent Ray Ivy was arrested in August of last year. He was the youth pastor at Vestal Baptist Church in South Knoxville. The church pastor, Arnold Green, tells us he believes Ivy was inappropriately involved with a 16-year-old and 18-year-old in the congregation. 6 months before he was arrested, Green tells us he fired him for insubordination not related to this case. Ivy faces charges of sexual battery by an authority figure and distributing inappropriate materials to minors. He's due back in court in 2024.
Right now, a Middle Tennessee man is missing in Alaska. Steve Keel went missing back on August 28th during a hunting trip with a friend in Dead Horse, Alaska. Keel's 2 sons flew to the remote area to search for their dad, but didn't have any luck. After days of searching, crews were forced to call it off because of rough terrain and weather conditions. And a deal made by the railroad companies and the workers union now heads for a vote.
Today was supposed to be the deadline for both sides to reach a deal. The standoff stemmed from a dispute over sick leave and attendance policies. President Biden announced that a tentative deal was reached after a marathon 20-hour negotiating. The news broke just before we went on the air yesterday morning at 6 o'clock. Both sides have agreed to give the unions a couple of weeks to take the vote and ratify the new contract.
New details this morning. The state of Mississippi is lifting its boil water advisory for the city of Jackson. The governor declared a state of emergency late last month when flooding overwhelmed the city's water treatment plant. FEMA distributed nearly 3 million bottles of water to people in Jackson. The state says it is working on a long-term fix right now.
And a special master is being named, tasked with reviewing the documents seized by the FBI during its search at Mar-a-Lago, former President Trump's home in Florida. Trump proposed U.S. District Judge Raymond Erie for the role 1 week ago. The Justice Department agrees. The judge must complete his review by November 30th. And the U.S. is set to give another $600 million to Ukraine. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the Biden administration has now given nearly $16 billion in military assistance to the country. And the families of 2 Americans being held prisoner in Russia will meet separately with President Biden today. WNBA star Brittany Griner was arrested in February on drug charges and is appealing a 9-year prison sentence. U.S. Marine veteran Paul Whelan has served just over 2 years of a 16-year sentence for espionage. He denies those charges. The White House said in July that it had made a substantial proposal to get them home, but no sign that a breakthrough is imminent.
Well, right now, thousands are still waiting in line to pay their respects to Queen Elizabeth II. This is a live look there in London. King Charles III travels to Wales today for his first visit as monarch, where he and the Queen Consort will attend a prayer and reflection service for the Queen. It's Charles's final stop on his visits to the 4 nations of the UK as king. Among the 2,000 people attending Monday's funeral, the guest list includes President Joe Biden, French President Emmanuel Macron, and Prime Ministers of Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
WVLT proud to be your official station of the Vols. Tennessee basketball making a big announcement. They're retiring Chris Lofton's jersey number this season. Coach Barnes surprised him with the news at practice yesterday. Lofton played for the Vols from 2004 to 2008, earning All-American and SEC honors. The number 5 jersey will now be hanging from the rafters. The ceremony will take place on January 14th when the Vols welcome the Kentucky Wildcats to Thompson-Boling Arena. And the Tennessee football team back at it tomorrow night in Neyland Stadium as they host the Akron Zips. Tickets still available right now, but athletic director Danny White says they're close to a sellout for this game. You're going to have to stream tomorrow night's game if you're at home. It'll be on the SEC Network Plus channel. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock.
It is about 6:55 this morning. We do want to get a look at your first alert traffic. This is a live look at I-75 just north of Merchant Drive. Staying pretty quiet out there ahead of that morning rush for you. We're not following any issues on the interstates or main roads. You are moving right along through downtown Knoxville this morning as you get your busy Friday started. If you're traveling through downtown Knoxville this weekend, heads up, a lot is happening. Today is parking day in Market Square, and we also have the Tennessee game taking place, so Neyland Drive is going to be packed.
Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley.
6:55. The only thing that could slow you down on this Friday morning, other than taking a minute to enjoy the temperatures, as we've had one more morning in the 50s. Knoxville, the blanket of fog, as I explained, has even ticked it back up to 60 already. It's 59 still Maryville to Oak Ridge, 54 in Oneida to 57 Middlesboro. Layering up the fog and the temperatures there. You can see the bonus, at least to the fog, is it will slow down our heating when the sun does come up. We can see some of that low cloud cover from fog and haze this morning. Temperatures, at least on the mild side for now, as we heat up quickly to 77 in that sunshine at noon. 83 your high, right around normal, but feeling a degree or two warmer today because the humidity is also going up today into your weekend. Now what that adds up to is more of a very stray shower in the mountains tomorrow morning, and then at the end of the day that could try to come downhill kind of at the end of your I'm All Vol forecast presented by Food City. But notice at least we still have mild temperatures from beginning to end. 80 degrees to start that game at 7 p.m., 70 by the end. Those highs continue to heat up next week. That's where we're tracking that heat wave just in time to officially end summer. Obviously a lot still coming up on the CW for you.
Yeah, those 90s. Summer's not going anywhere right now,
Nope.
at least.
Nope.
The boys of summer not going anywhere yet. 6:56. We're headed over to WBXX for 2 more hours of news. We'll be back here at 9 o'clock on WVLT. Have a good one.